heart. We have the Mishkan in our heart. We have the temple in our heart. It signifies the inner heart and the outer heart, external part of the heart. There are two sections in the heart. There's one part of the heart that relates to emotions. There's a deeper level in the heart that connects with the depth of the soul. One is called chitzenius, external. One is called pneumius. The deeper level that connects with the soul is basically the ultimate connection that we have with the Almighty. The external part is the emotions. These are, and not really with the deeper level of the soul. An interesting concept that's mentioned in Hasidus, that when a person has a deep sense, a deep intuition about something that his heart tells him, it's usually right. Because it comes from the depth of the soul that's even higher yet than the brain's connection to the soul. And here we understand a very interesting thing. When you look at Rashi, commentary of Rashi, when Rashi wants to explain something and he doesn't have any words, he doesn't have any logical access to how to explain it, but he needs to explain it. You know what he says? Libi emerli, my heart tells me. And this is what he explains to a child that is 5 years old. Actually, the day of his passing was last Thursday, 29th of Tammuz. So basically, these are two different levels in the heart. One a deeper connection, one is a less connection. Then comes the Holy Ark. The Holy Ark was in the space which was called the Holy of Holies. Nobody went in there besides the chief Kohen on the day which is the holiest day in the year, Yom Kippur. This is when they all met together. The Kohen, who is considered the chief Kohen, was considered the Holy of Holiest amongst the Jewish nation, on the holiest day, in the holiest place. That's where they all met together. That's where all the three, time, place, and person, met together. When he went in to do his service there. What? No, a whole day. He had sacrificed a whole day. In the Ilah, if he would have done the Ilah, he would have missed the boat. He did a lot of work. He had to go back and forth. He had to immerse in water. It was a whole day work. He was there the whole day, in and out, back and forth. He was doing different things. And there were things that they made it easier for him because of his work. They did things in a lighter way that he shouldn't have to schlep so much because of his work, fasting and doing all this work. It wasn't an easy work. And when he went out, they made a very special holiday, because there were times that some Kehanim didn't make it out. They just didn't. They were just because of different things that the Almighty was upset, because some Kehanim were just there that they, for money reasons, they paid off money in order to be able to work there, so they had to take him out. They just didn't make it out. As the Talmud discusses it during the Second Temple. So now we go on to the Aron. The Aron is considered the elite everything. This is where the Shekhinah is. This is where there was place that was higher than place. When you measure the dimensions were the Holy Ark had dimensions. But these dimensions, when you mention from the wall till the dimensions, to the Holy Ark, and from the Holy Ark to the next wall, it seemed like these dimensions did not take up any space. In other words, when you measured them, they had dimensions. But when you measured from wall to them, and from them to wall, it seemed like there was nothing there. This space was still 20 by 20. 20 by 20 cubic feet. Amen, which is 30 feet. What does this mean? That place was experiencing higher than time and place. What does the Aron signify? The Aron, the Holy Ark, and the tablets, and the Sefer Torah, they signify the first three attributes of the world of Atzilus. Actually, before the Atzilus. Keser, Chochmah, and Bina. It symbolizes the crown. It symbolizes the first one, which is Chochmah, and the second one, which is Bina. Because the luchos come from Keser. The Sefer Torah that Moshe Rabbeinu wrote, was laying in the Holy Ark, is Chachma. And the vessel for everything, what is the vessel for Chachma? Bina. So this is basically the first three. This is how they are in the... so now getting back to how they are incorporated, consolidated in the person, it is basically, as we mentioned, the external heart, part of the heart, the internal heart, part of the heart, and then there is the Oren, which is studying Torah. When a person studies Torah, what do they accomplish? They are becoming a vessel that the Almighty should be repeating what they're learning. It is in a state of bittul, in a state of nullification. This is basically when a person is learning Torah. Now, what does the ceiling signify? The above, what does it signify? It's a makif, it's over. It's the same way that a person also has a certain character trait, a personal character trait, which hovers over the person. What hovers over the person? The person begins from intellect. The highest level of the person, the highest part of the person's body is the head. What is over the head? The will. The willpower. The willpower hovers over the person. What does this mean in the Mishkan? When we become a dwelling place for the Almighty, that we are committing our willpower to the will of the Almighty. We're committing our willpower to the will of the Almighty, which this is basically the idea of the makifim, that what hovers over. And the same thing is also with the colors, which this either we'll have to leave it for another time or whatever, but it discusses also the different colors in even all this the ceiling over the Mishkan, of the sanctuary, had different colors that also symbolize the personal character traits, not only as they are contained in our vessels, the heart, or the brain, or the heart, or the mind, but as they are also in the essence of our neshama. Because in the same sense that there is a ceiling and there is a regular vessel, in the same sense in our soul, there is a vessel that can contain different revelations, for example, the heart, the mind, and then the brain. Then there is a part of the level of the soul that also has those character traits, but it like hovers over us, like a ceiling that hovers over the sanctuary. So this is basically what it means, the sanctuary, what it means, the temple. And by studying these things, we hasten the construction of the temple, the revelation, the descent of the temple, as it's mentioned in some commentaries say that the temple will come down from heaven, the third temple. Some commentaries say that the temple will be built by Mashiach. So there's an interest, the Rambam says that, Maimonides says it, so that it will be built by Mashiach himself. So the interesting compromise here, that basically both opinions hold true. And they bring a very interesting example from a law. For example, if you go into a certain property which is not private property, and you installed something there, you attained ownership of that property. If you put up a wall, you attained ownership of that property, because the property didn't belong to anybody, and you did something that's signified you're taking over the ownership. So it says that since the walls of the temple, original temple, were concealed in the ground, as we say it in the Lamentations, in Eicha, Tovush ba'aret sha'areh, that in the ground the walls were concealed, as we're going to hear it this, Mashiach doesn't come earlier, we're going to hear it this Mitzvah Shabbos, Saturday night, the Eicha, in the shuls, in the synagogues. So therefore, Bisham Mashiach will come, he will take out the walls, and since the Beis Hamikdash, the temple, belongs to everyone equal, so there's no specific ownership, so he is like building the wall in a public place, so therefore it's considered like he built it. And then the temple will come down from above into the framework of the walls, and then there will be a full temple, so both opinions hold true. Any questions?
Yes, I have questions. It dumbfounds me that there would be killing in the taking of life of the sacrifices.
Okay, I saw it on you already. Okay.
It disturbs me no end to take these animals. I don't care what excuses or what explanations. You are killing something and taking a life, and you're doing it in a holy place, and I do not understand it. I can't.
But this is not that we decided to do it. This is not a human thing. It's not a human-made commandment. I mean, the question is the one that created it asked for it. That's the question.
That's what
To want to understand it, I mean, there are different authors that explained. I mean, how much they can explain it in logic. It's basically, I think even I'm not sure, but I think even the Rambam Maimonides in the explaining Meir Nevuchim, when he's writing the Guide for Perplexed, there's different places where they write the Taimei HaMitzvahs, the reasons for different things. I mean, it's a thing for itself. It's a world for itself. I understand your feeling.
Do we know that God actually told? I mean, how do we know that comes from God?
I mean, it's in the Bible. It came from Moses.
From Moses.
Not from Moses. It came from God. I mean, the whole Bible came. What's the difference?
It's written in
Vayidaber Hashem al Moshe Leimer. It says God spoke to Moses. He says every day 2 sacrifices. Moses didn't do anything. Moses did not write things on his own.
I know that, of course. But do you
To understand that?
From what I remember, in regard to the perplex, the reason the Rambam says that animals need to be sacrificed is to wean them from human sacrifice. Because at that time, the peoples of the world were using humans and to sacrifice them to Moloch. So one of the ways you wean is by, you can't break a habit so easily like this. So you wean away like you do from cigarettes. You go to something lighter. So they were sacrificing humans. So then they went to animals just to try. And
Okay, so this is one explanation. Yeah.
That's what the Rambam says.
Yeah, but there is more.
Rambam later himself said that he was wrong. There was a reason for the sacrifices, and it wasn't.
Oh yeah, he later.
It wasn't
It
biblical.
was supposed to be. Don't forget that sacrifice an animal and a grain offering were brought by Cain and Abel in the very beginning.
You're right. By Noach it was brought,
I think
right?
the meat and that also.
Sorry. Okay, let's just go to other questions so we'll get to